Hey everybody, welcome back to A Better Computer. My name is Matt, and today I want to go over things I expect from Apple in 2021 and things that I hope that they release in 2021. And so I'm going to break this down into 6 sections for 6 products that Apple has, lines of products I guess, and kind of tell you my hopes and dreams as well as what I realistically think they're going to deliver, and then hopefully I can revisit this at the end of the year and see how close I was. So let's kick it off with the Mac. The Mac had a big year in 2020. They released some great new computers, and then at the end of the year they released the first Apple Silicon Macs. I'm expecting them to continue adding Apple Silicon down the line, or up the line, I guess. I expect the 16-inch MacBook Pro to get Apple Silicon either in the M1, probably the M1X, or M2. Who knows how they're going to name these exactly, but I think it'll have a more powerful M-something processor than what we got this December. And I also think that we're going to get it into the iMac. I don't think the Mac Pro is ready for it yet, but I think that'll get us close to their full lineup using Apple Silicon by the end of 2021. I think the design for those will be exactly the same as they are today. The safe money is on them being the same design, and I think for the 16-inch MacBook Pro, that's fine. For the iMac, that thing's getting a little long in the tooth, so I'd love to see a new design, but I wouldn't bet on it. What I hope they do with the Mac in 2021 is I'd love to see, like I said, the new design for the iMac, so their desktop all-in-one has a new design that's closer to the Apple Cinema display, or God, that's the old name. What's it called? The Pro Display XDR. I hope it's closer to that. And then in terms of portables, I would love to see a new Mac in the lineup this year. I don't know if it's a successor to the MacBook Nothing with no name after it, or if it's something totally different, but I'd love to see something with touch. I'd love to see something with a detachable screen. I'd love to see a big change to Apple's portable Macs, because when they made this change to Apple Silicon, they talked about wanting to make form factors, make devices they couldn't make with Intel. And I think that with the power efficiency, with the stuff that they get with their own silicon, I think this is a great opportunity to kind of push the Mac into a new direction. And so I really hope we see that this year. Then we have the iPad. And what are we going to see from the iPad in 2021? I'm not expecting a ton. I expect the iPad Air was a great update at the end of last year, so that's probably not going to change much. Maybe the entry line will get a slight update, but I kind of doubt that as well. I feel like they're pretty happy with that form factor and Touch ID and all that stuff. And then the Pro, there's some rumors the Pro is going to get like a micro LED screen. But honestly, with that, the cameras are fine. The screen, the body ratio is great. Face ID is wonderful. Maybe they'll add some like an M1 processor to it or something. I would expect the Pros to get an update this year, because the update they got in 2020 was pretty minor. So I do expect to get some sort of spec bump to the iPad Pros. But that's really it. And frankly, as a 2018 iPad Pro user myself, I'm not really clamoring for an update. Like, I'm totally happy with what the device is doing for me today. But what do I hope that they release? It's not really a hardware thing on the iPad. I feel like the iPad is in great shape. I think all of the issues I have with the iPad are along software lines. So I hope that they do a really big update in iPadOS 15. I hope things like font management get better. I hope things like file management gets much improved. I'd love to see Apple bring some of their Pro apps. Everybody says this, but I'd love to see Final Cut come over to the iPad. I want to see all of this stuff happen, and everything, it's frustrating because I love the iPad, I love the form factor, I love the operating system, but I think that especially with Macs getting so much better this year, it's really making the iPad need to up its game as well. And I'd love to see Apple do that this year. Hey buddy, this guy invaded. Let's keep going. So next up is the iPhone. I think the iPhone is going to have kind of a smaller update this year. They did a big design change, big-ish design change with the iPhone 12, so I don't think they're clamoring to have a huge update again. But I do think it's going to have similar design. They'll have new colors, as they always do, and a faster chip. And then I am hoping that they're going to have some of the iPhone 12 Pro Max camera tech come down to the regular Pro size. I hope that they can get that sensor, the bigger sensor, all the improvements that the Pro Max got this year. I hope they can bring that down to the normal Pro phone this year, 2021, so that more people can get those advantages. It didn't seem like enough of an improvement this year to get me to change my phone, to upgrade to this massive phablet that I don't want to use every day, but the differences are definitely there, and so it'd be really nice to see kind of an improvement there, because if you came from the 11 Pro and went to the 12 Pro, which again is an update that almost nobody does, just people like me on YouTube do it, if you did that update, it's basically the same as last year. There's not a ton of camera changes from the previous year, except for HDR video. But yeah, would love to see a lot of that camera tech come down the line. Then we have one of my favorite things, and that's the Apple Watch. What is Apple going to do with the Apple Watch this year? I expect, and this is a risky thing to do with anything Apple, but I am expecting a new design this year for the Apple Watch. So the original Apple Watch, which we now call the Series 0, the Series 1 and 2, which came out the following year, and then the Series 3, all shared the same design. So that was 3 years where we had the same design. Then the Series 4, 5, and 6 have all had the same design. So I'm thinking this is the year that we get a new design for the Apple Watch Series 7. So that's my big prediction. I think we're going to get a new design. I don't think there's going to be a huge speed improvement. I don't think we're going to get much in the way of new features. There may not even be any new health features, even though Apple loves to add those. So that's kind of what I'm expecting to see from the Apple Watch Series 7. What do I want to see? Honestly, that's it. I want to see a new design. I want to see something that's maybe a little thinner, that maybe has even less bezel than currently. It's not bad right now, but I honestly didn't think the Series 3 was that bad, and then I saw the Series 4 and was like, oh, yeah, that's much better. So I'd love to see the bezels get a little smaller. I still think square is the right shape. I don't want to see a round Apple Watch. Maybe Apple will do that. Maybe they'll have even 2 options this year. That's not a prediction. That's just a thing they theoretically could do. I really think that square is the right shape, especially for digital watches like this. But we'll see what they do. I definitely think a new design is coming, and honestly, that's all I want from the Apple Watch. And then we're into our last 2 categories. There's the HomePod. So the HomePod got released a couple years ago. I think it was 4 years ago or early. Oh boy, I'll put it on the screen. It was released a couple years ago. I'm really happy with mine. I have 2 in my living room that I use as a stereo pair for my Apple TV. They work really nicely, but are super limited to Apple stuff, but that's what you're signing up for. And then the HomePod Mini came out at the end of last year, and I don't think those sound amazing. I don't think they sound as well as Apple advertised them to be, but they're pretty good. And for kind of accessories too, you can actually see one back here on my desk, as accessories to just have Siri around your house, to be able to play music in multiple rooms at the same time. I think they do a really good job of that. And so I honestly don't expect anything from Apple in the HomePod this coming year. Maybe there'll be some software updates with iOS 15 and everything, but that's it. I expect 0 new HomePod hardware. And what do I want? Nothing. I don't want anything. I honestly am totally happy with what they have right now. I think the lineup is really strong. And then we'll see. We'll see if the Mini takes off. The $100 price point hopefully moved a lot more units than the more expensive main HomePod. We'll see what happens. And finally, I'm going to wrap up today with the Apple TV. The Apple TV 4K is years old at this point. It's running an older chipset. It can't run games very well. It can't do a ton of stuff. It runs all video perfectly fine. Like, it's a great video player, but it's definitely long in the tooth and getting ready for an update. So I'm expecting Apple to update the Apple TV this year with new hardware that's running a faster chip and a new controller. I think that the remote control that comes with it is going to be redesigned somewhat. I think the touchpad is staying around, but I think that they're going to do something. I would love to see kind of something thicker, something chunkier that's harder to lose. I'd love to see a mute button because, my God, it's really annoying not to be able to mute your TV sometimes. And then I'd love to see physical buttons for advancing and going back, because I don't know about you, but when I'm trying to go forward or back 10 seconds using the remote and clicking the right or left side, it almost never works the first time. It always takes a few tries. So I'd love to see some of those, and I expect we'll see those because people have been complaining about that remote for years. And what do I hope for? I'm hoping that they go into gaming harder on this one. I know they talked about that with the original Apple TV, this current iteration that we're on, but it never really panned out. I don't know anyone who really plays games on their Apple TV. I'd love to see them put an M1 chip into the Apple TV. This is going to make it more expensive, but I hope that they do it. And I want to see Apple make their own video game controller. Now, it's probably going to be controversial. It's probably going to be $100 or $150 or something, but I'd love to see them really embrace this. I don't think they can keep relying on third parties to make these controllers for them because they're never quite as good. They're never perfect for the operating system. And obviously, you can use Xbox controllers, PlayStation controllers. That's all great. But I'd love to see Apple have their own because that's going to be more of a signal that they are serious about gaming on the Apple TV. And putting in a processor that can run some of these PC games really well is going to be quite compelling, I think, for a lot of people. So that's what I'd love to see from them on the Apple TV this year. So that's it for today's video. Sherman's saying goodbye. But yeah, that's kind of what I expect to happen in 2021. That's what I hope to happen in 2021. And again, I'll go look back on this video in a year and see how close I was. Hopefully I'm not too far off. But thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please hit that thumbs up button under there, subscribe, do all the things. See you here next time. Bye-bye.